My name is Lee, and I narrate the near-death experiences of those who have died and seen the other side. If you enjoy these videos, please consider hitting the thumbs up button, subscribing, and clicking the bell icon to be notified of new content. Doing so is free and helps the channel grow. To my returning viewers, I'm glad to have you back. I just want to let everyone know that today's experience involves mentions of violence and the prison system. So please be warned. Get comfortable, grab a cup of coffee or tea, and let's dive into today's experience. Hi Lee. I hope you don't mind that I call you by your name instead of Heaven Awaits. I am writing to share my experience of being dead. I want to start by telling people that this isn't a pretty story, and what they hear may disturb them. But it is real. I am a murderer. In 1993, I killed my best friend. I know what you and your listeners must be thinking. How could someone kill their own best friend? Would you believe me if I told you it was an accident? Yeah, me neither. But it was. Maybe we shouldn't have been playing with my dad's weapons. I don't wish to get into the details, even though it all happened in the past. It still brings me to tears just thinking about it. I was charged with manslaughter and sentenced to 12 years in prison. From what I understand, the judge considered my previous record when deciding my sentence. I wasn't always the good citizen I am today. I don't know what I expected from prison, but when I was finally transferred in 1994 to what would be my home for the next 12 years, Indian Creek Correctional, it was an eye-opening experience. When I arrived, I quickly learned that prison is one of the most segregated places in America. Even if you weren't racist, you were expected to stay with your own race. Whites with whites, blacks with blacks, Latinos with Latinos, and so on. Breaking this rule was a dangerous mistake. In county jail, it wasn't as strictly enforced, but in prison, for those serving life sentences, it was the law. I had no interest in gang politics. I found the segregation ridiculous. But that didn't stop others from enforcing it to the extreme. The first time I broke this rule, I was caught talking to a black guy I had been in county jail with. We had gotten along well before prison, but the other white inmates didn't like that. Later that day, I was called down to the big dog's cell. He was the head of the Aryan Brotherhood in that prison, serving 3 consecutive life sentences. I was forced to explain why I had been seen talking to someone outside my race. The words they used were vile, things I had never heard spoken so openly before. I was asked if I was a traitor to my race. I had no idea what to say. I didn't think this was a big deal, but in prison, it was. Maybe the big dog felt sorry for me. Or maybe he realized I was fresh meat in the system, but he spared me from a brutal beating that day. Instead, he explained the rules. Whites stay with whites. Blacks stay with blacks. Latinos stay with Latinos. He used much harsher terms. I thanked him for not killing me and returned to my cell, knowing I had been marked. For 8 years, I managed to keep my head down and avoid the gang politics. I saw people get brutally beaten, and I witnessed multiple racial conflicts. But I kept my focus on serving my time and getting out. Then, in December 2002, everything changed. I was on kitchen duty, and unfortunately in the kitchen, you had no choice but to communicate with people outside your race, especially if you wanted to get things done. Even then, you were expected to keep conversations to a minimum, or someone would rat you out. I don't even remember what I said to the guy I was working with. It was probably something as harmless as, "Do you need help with those dishes?" But that was enough. Someone told the Aryan Brotherhood guys that I was getting too chummy with a black inmate. That night, I was called back down to the big dog cell. As soon as I walked in, I was met with a punch to the face. I didn't even have a chance to speak. I don't remember what happened next. I only remember waking up in the infirmary with a swollen lip and a gash above my left eye. It took a while for me to find out what had happened. As soon as the first punch landed, about 10 other guys jumped on me and kept beating me until I went limp. Then they threw me out onto the gangway and left me there bleeding. And all I had done was ask someone of a different skin color if they needed help with dishes. For the rest of my time in prison, I was on the bad side of the whites. Because of my skin color, I was an enemy to all. It didn't matter that I had done nothing wrong. I was now labeled a race traitor. That meant I had no protection. If any other white person helped me, they would suffer the same fate. Every time commissary came around, I was jumped. Eventually, I told my dad to stop sending money. I had nothing left to steal, and finally, people left me alone. But in my final year, I snapped. I had endured 4 years of hell. I was tired of it. So, I decided to take revenge. I made a homemade shank out of my toothbrush and approached the Aryan Brotherhood leader. I stabbed him in the kidney area. Not enough to kill him, but enough to make sure he wouldn't mess with me again. There's an old saying, live by the sword, die by the sword. From that moment on, I had to grow eyes in the back of my head. I avoided everyone I could, but 5 months before my scheduled release, he got his revenge. I don't know where he got the weapon from, but he slashed me across my stomach, deep, from one side to the other. I collapsed immediately. Then everything went black. I found myself looking down at my own body as the guards rushed to contain the chaos. Blood was pooling around me. And then I felt it, something pulling me downward. The further I went, the more I heard. Screaming, moaning, gnawing, chewing, cursing. The pulling turned into a free fall, and suddenly, I was standing on a rocky surface, surrounded by fire. The heat was unbearable. I muttered, "Hello?" And everything went silent. Then, a cackle, so evil, I can't describe it in words. "Welcome home, Sam," a bodiless voice said. And then, I saw him. Lucifer,